gentlemen, you're looking at Triple Threat Talk. I'm Dean Hill.
This is Ricky Chevy, and I'm the blue-collar millionaire.
I'm Mr. Peck. God, that's great every time. Spectacular.
We're the Bronis Brothers.
I am the One Girl Revolution, Taylor Hendricks.
This is Brandon Espinoza.
I'm the Assassin.
I'm Bruno Raul Limana.
I'm James Moose Thomas.
I'm Shiloh Jones.
My name is Ron Head. I'm the announcer for OVW.
I'm Jamin Olivencia.
I'm Alex Silva. I'm Rocco Bellagio.
I'm Kerry Bodie, the Ohio Valley Wrestling fan advocate.
Raphael Constantine.
I'm Rand Perez.
My name's Muhammad Ali. Baez.
I'm Paradise.
This is Ohio Valley Wrestling referee Chris Sharp.
This is Sexy Sean Casey. I'm Chris Silvio.
This is Michael Hayes. This is Jason Wayne.
We'll see you at ringside.
Everyone to episode 52. Really? With that jersey on? Really? Come on. I mean, you can see that Postmaster's on here. Everyone gets sick. Yeah. It does happen, people. We do have sick days here at Triple Threat Talk. He doesn't get paid, though. Yeah. Only I get No, you don't. Says your paycheck. Look at it. Check it out sometime. I know you get direct deposit. You might want to check that. People do get sick, so Postmaster is not here. Hope you feel better. You better be here next week because start docking your pay, even though you don't get paid. But yeah, it's episode Patrick Willis, Clay Matthews, and Ray Lewis today. So all excitement around here. 52. Exactly. So yeah, as you can see, we're back in the dining room as we were last week for the update. Last week's episode was 51 and a half. It's an update. Yeah. But we are still working on a couple things. We got a couple things working, so it's just going to work itself out over time. Before episode 51, the wheels were in motion, and then we got off the highway, and it was like, okay, and then it's like, the wheels went backwards, and now we're back on the highway. But we are back today because we love you guys, we love the fans, despite some harsh words for people from Pennsylvania and other things. You know, I really do care about the fans. I know Big B and Postmaster Jones do as well. So we're here today to inform you guys of the last 2 weeks were the sports, which is going to reflect more so in headlines than anything else. Right. Because why talk about a basketball game that happened 2 weeks ago that you guys have already heard about? And this week's wrestling topic will be something that we haven't done in a long time. Yeah. So but as Postmaster would always generally say here, it's time to kick it off with views or questions. Yeah, he says user. We say viewer. We're cool. Yes. So first question from Against All Odds 20. Have we seen the WWE 13 trailer? What do we think about it? I have not seen it. Okay, well, I haven't. E3 is going on right now. It's actually this week in... Is the Big Bang Theory there this year? No, that's Comic-Con. They were there last year. Oh, no, but they were there last year. I don't think they're there. The Comic-Con they will be there. But I've seen the trailer. It's the game is coming out October 30th of this year. The trailer looks very good. It's more focused in the Attitude Era sort of thing. In previous years, you had Road to WrestleMania. That's not in this year. It's going to be like an Attitude campaign where it takes you through certain historical events from Attitude Era scenario, which is pretty cool. CM Punk's on the cover, if you didn't know that by now. They only announced a few people so far. Sheamus is in it, The Big Show. Mankind, Undertaker, you know, Mark Henry, and they're going to start announcing people more periodically. And SummerSlam's like their big time when they announce like the full roster. They did it last year with WWE 12. They're going to do it this year with WWE 13. The game looks amazing. The Attitude Era aspect alone has me really excited to see who they put in the game from the Attitude Era. So. You've been asking also another question about Muhammad Hassan. We're not going to answer that. Just from my recollection, I think from Big B's as well, and we're not able to get a hold of Postmaster because, like I said, he is ailing right now. Yeah. I don't remember Muhammad Hassan being that big of a momentous character. Right. Do you? Well, so you're going to answer the question. This kind of sort of answers it. his character was controversial. That's why he was brought in.
Right. I know it was an Iraqi-centered back in the desert. It was an
Arab American.
Yeah, during Desert Storm and all that.
Right.
Man, I just want to touch on this. I don't remember it being too momentous.
It's tough to talk about a character like this because he was brought in at the wrong time.
Right.
If he was brought in now, he might not be as alienated as he was when he debuted and had all his, you know, when he was in the WWE back then. Because obviously the time they brought him was a very controversial time. It was starting the war on terror over in Afghanistan. He was an Arab American, so it was very tough to have him in matches because, you know, people know it's a show, but sometimes people take it too seriously. Right. So he was a tough character to get by people.
Buck in 5 with the Doctor. Thank you. Talking about bowling.
Can you just say with you?
What are your favorite OVW theme songs? This is not me being biased because I've asked a few other people that aren't Michael Hayes fans, which, how can you not be a Michael Hayes fan? Really?
Well, he didn't like us, remember? He said it's not special. If we cheer for somebody else, he's going to come on that route. And you know what? We cheer for somebody else.
We cheer for somebody else. He didn't come on. But I did start chanting his name, and he looked through the ropes. He was like, what was that? When I started, I'm like, Michael.
What happened to your boys?
I always chant your name, Michael.
What happened to your boys?
But I like his song, Hero by Skillet. It's a very good song. And of course, I like Bowling Service.
I like Bowling Service's song too. I like the Family's theme song. That's a good song. One of my favorite songs I like to hear is Brandon Espinosa's theme song, Junkies for Fame by Sean. That's a good song too. So there's a lot of good songs in there. Get your Shazam app out and follow them.
Also from Buck in 5, what is the best CPV in DWA history?
Well, it had to be the one we did before, the one where you were completely exhausted. Destruction Mania 2, obviously. The most work.
4 hours!
The most work I've ever put in a show. And it paid off because obviously a lot of the comments in the last part were, you know, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen and this and I appreciate that. I'll tell you how difficult it was. I wanted to put on the best show possible for you guys, and I think I did that based on what I read anyway. I took a whole week off of work when I was working at the time. I had vacation, so it's not like I just goofed off. I actually had the vacation, so I was able to take it off. I was doing stuff in After Effects, but it was taking too long. That's why some of the parts didn't have like After Effects in them. Others did. I was literally like downstairs in my basement, had the computer on, playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 while something was saving, and literally got maybe 2 hours of sleep a night just to work on this thing. It was a grueling task, but I'm glad I got it out. That has to be the best CPV in my opinion in DWA history. I don't know what he would say because he's been around for a few of them.
Yeah, I would say that one. I remember we put so much work into it. One day I came over before commentating and I slept on this couch for about an hour.
Yeah.
Because it was that exhausting.
Yeah, it is exhausting.
Put that in.
It's a tiring task.
I mean, after working, I worked 12 hours that day, and then I came over and I had to commentate for 2.5. Right. And then we did another 1.5 the other 1.5 hours the next day.
Off, yeah.
So I mean, it was it was pretty, even just from doing it 2.5 hours, because at the time I still have a little bit of one, but I had a lower back problem, right? And it still kind of ails me a little bit, but not much. Right. But
and as far as
just sitting down,
yeah. As far as the best match, it might be something from there.
Anything with the doctor's order, the best match ever.
Yeah, could possibly be Lance Burton and Costanza. Was very stop talking. That match was very good because it's for the title. It was a long match.
Apocalypse Capone.
They didn't fight Destruction Mania.
Oh, you're talking about at Destruction Mania.
Well, I'm saying best match in general. Gangster Sean and the Solid Critic, a lot of people said that was one of the best matches they saw at that pay-per-view, which I agree with. It was very good.
When I and Vega and Inuyasha vanquished the virus.
And now he's back, so look at that one.
Yeah,
a match that was way back way before you came on. It was a match between, before Fall Brawl 1, is between Jack Sparrow and Vega. A lot of people, that was like they said our best match of that year, so that's another match up there. A lot of matches with Vega get a lot of praise because I said Vega's moveset to be very athletic, so he's up there. But I try to make all the best matches possible that I can for these shows. So that's my goal, to make these matches really good.
From the CAW Interviewer, what is WWE's best ever pay-per-view?
It's a WrestleMania.
I would say Iron Man.
It's your opinion which one it is. 17's very stacked. I think WrestleMania 17 is one of the best WrestleManias ever. It's right up there with 12, with Michaels winning the Iron Man match. 27 I was at. People don't agree with that. It was good. I was there. I thought it was very good. 28 was good last year with the Roxy, and that was a big highlight moment. That was very good. You know, so mostly if you're gonna now say a best pay-per-view ever, it's gonna be a WrestleMania more times out than not. Although one pay-per-view that I could say that's actually one of the best ones they've done in a while was the Money in the Bank where CM Punk won the WWE title because every single match on that just went the right way and the crowd was so into it. That's what made that pay-per-view very good as well.
Prototype 400. How much longer do you think TNA will last? He gives TNA 3 to 5 more years until they go out of business. Just being honest. This is kind of touchy because OVW works for TNA. We don't really want to diss them.
No, but there's certain things, and I'm going to talk about WWE about certain things later when we get to the the wrestling portion. Portion. Thank you. But TNA makes certain decisions, and one of them was straying from the 6-sided ring, which made them unique. And now that there are 4 sides, it kind of doesn't make them as unique as they once were. That hurt them. The fact that TNA builds their stars that are former WWE superstars doesn't really make their own people stand out. Yes, Bobby Roode is the champion, but I have a feeling he's going to lose it at Slammiversary to Sting because there's rumors that Bobby Roode's not happy in TNA. What's going on? He might come to WWE after his contract up. He has expressed interest. They've expressed interest in him. So TNA needs to make smart decisions. The thing with Brooke Hogan I found very boring and very mind-boggling why they brought her in the first place, only because she's Hulk Hogan's baby girl. So I don't know why they're doing this. The thing with AJ Styles and Dixie Carter is kind of stupid. Their writers are atrocious. That's the bottom line. I like OVW, and I hope some of the people get success there.
Exactly.
Honestly, I wish nothing but the best for those guys, but it's not that hard to realize that TNA's writing staff is just not that good. Their ideas they do sometimes you just don't know what's going on. And
some of them have said if TNA approached them, they would not go to TNA.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things that.
Right.
I mean, not just them, but other people, when they've had, like, people in WWE say when their contract is up, if they were not to return to WWE, they would never go to TNA.
Yeah, and you notice some people that were in WWE and now are in TNA, their careers aren't as good as they once were.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, there definitely needs to be a change at the top. They don't know how to run business. They run on political favorites over there. It's one of those things where the best people are not in charge of that company.
Right.
And like I said, I wish nothing but the best for Michael Hayes and Muhammad Ali Fayez and Taylor Hendricks. And the list goes on, and Brandon Espinosa. The list goes on and on and on. Yeah. A bunch of pretty much the whole locker room.
Yeah, those guys have a lot of talent.
Yeah, we've really become friends with them and really admire their talent. And they do deserve better. Right. But I'm here to tell you, I'm not sure if better is TNA.
Yeah, I just...
I mean,
if that's your stepping stone to get somewhere else, that's fine.
Exactly.
But I mean,
I'm certainly not going to discourage anyone from joining TNA.
Right.
But when you take a powerhouse in an athletic body like Rob Terry, and you put him in a Yale...
Yeah, he's like the bodyguard of Robbie E. Zack Ryder ripoff, first of all.
Really? I mean, come on. You got to use him as a monster.
I mean, congratulations to Alex Silver for making it in the gut check, which is awesome. But, again, Alex has not been on TNA since he won the gut check thing, so where is it?
It's just a mess over there.
Yeah.
What types of gimmicks should wrestlers use for their characters more often? Examples: animal themes, tiger mask, black tiger, junkyard dog, country patriot theme, superhero theme. One of the things I always have liked, and this is kind of what I model the Doctor character when I write for DWA, which of course I write for Destruction, and he mainly does Voltage. When I write my character, I kind of do the unpredictability thing. I like the gimmick of pure unpredictability. Like, more often than not, I fall under the category of a heel.
Right.
But I've done some good things, writing in Paul Blart as the champion, Interstar champion.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I mean, it's treating him, it's doing something that, I'm treating a heel, I'm treating a face correctly. I mean, it's just an example, I mean, it's one of those things, and there are several other examples, like the Lance Burton Open, giving everybody their fair shake, giving the fans what they want when I write for Destruction. I kind of like the unpredictability thing. Yeah, Doctor's a heel. Yeah, the Doctor's order is out there. But I'm also trying to write SmackDown. He approves everything.
Mean Voltage.
But, no.
You said SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, sorry. When I do Destruction, when I write for Destruction, I try to give the fans what they want. Ultimately, he does approve my scripts, or maybe makes one or two changes.
I'll say this. The changes I make are very minor.
I was going to say, he'll tell you, he doesn't make a whole lot of changes.
Just maybe some matches, that's about it.
Yeah, and
I rarely change anything story-wise.
And that's one of the things that I think that...
TNA, hire this guy.
I know, right? I think it's one of those things that when I started, because it's an honor to write for. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm very privileged that you let me write for DWA. But it's one of those things where I try, when I write, I do try to be unpredictable.
Right. So, but these types of gimmicks, gimmicks aren't around as much as they used to be. I mean, the Funkasaurus thing was good for a while now. It
still is.
It's got a little bit of more of annoying. Dolph Ziggler is kind of like the Mr. Perfect kind of thing, where he's the show off, and that's fine. But I don't gimmicks don't really work as much as they used to. Sin Cara has a gimmick, he has a mask. Kane is the only guy right now that I see has the perfect gimmick, because that's what Kane should be. He needs to be in the mask, and that's why he's very popular. When Kane was without the mask, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't care about Kane one bit. I just didn't care for Kane. When I has the mask on now, I like Kane. He's different. He's an individual. That's what makes Kane unique.
Yeah, the Predator mask is awesome. Will either Yankees or the Red Sox miss the playoffs this year? I think the Yankees are going to win that division. They're kind of...
Yeah, they started off a little bit slow, but...
Yeah, I think they're going to win.
But, I mean, the Red Sox are struggling right now. They may bounce back, but I think the Yankees are going to win that division. The AL East is pretty tough right now. The Rays are doing really well. The Orioles are still doing pretty good. But I think ultimately, that's what the Yankees do. They come back, they fight. They're one of the best teams in the history of the sport. So I think when it's all said and done, I think the Yankees are, if they don't win the AL East, they're definitely getting the playoffs in the AL wild card for sure. So before we get to our next question, we're going to take a short commercial break. We'll be right back with the rest of the views or questions, so sit tight.
Nobody does what Papa John's does.
You choose. For just $10, get a large pizza with your choice of any 2 toppings. That's Papa John's quality for just $10. Or for just $2 more, get any large pizza, even specialties. Plus, earn free pizza fast with Papa Rewards when you order at papajohns.com. Get a large pizza with your choice of any 2 toppings for just $10. Or for just $2 more, get any large pizza.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
And we are back. That was that commercial once again. So back to questions here from Son of Sis. What are your thoughts on the Jericho suspension? And we touched on this a little bit last week in the update, but we're going to get more in depth with it here. I mean, it's one of those things that he did what he did because he was trying to play a character, but...
Yeah, we're kind of in the, I would say, a dark period. Like, not a dark period, but like... Definitely a blank period right now for the WWE because they're without 2 of their big stars. Yeah, Jericho wasn't going to be around much longer because he was going to go back on tour. Yeah. But now they're down Randy Orton because of wellness policy, and now they're down Chris Jericho, and they were definitely building something between the 2 of those.
Exactly. They're probably going to fight at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's a huge blow for them, and I definitely think that Jericho shouldn't have done what he did knowing he was in Brazil. Like in Canada, they're cool with it because, a lot of Canadian wrestlers are there.
I think, because Canada's a huge wrestling country.
Yeah, it's huge.
So I think if they said something like that, they'd boo them. Yeah. But I don't think they'd have a real problem with that. I think in Brazil it's frowned upon, obviously. So
South America is a very touchy country. I mean, I love people from South America. A lot of my good friends. One of my best friends is... wife is from there, and I love I've been to Venezuela, and I love the countries. But as far as what you're going to do down there politically, you need to watch what you do, and that was definitely a no-no.
Right.
Guitar Hero 3214, out of all the first place teams right now, which do you think will keep the first place spot throughout the whole season? I am not being biased here. I, honest to God, don't see the Reds losing their lead. Because the NL Central is garbage.
Yeah, I think the Brewers are the only team in there that might cause them some trouble. The Cardinals are kind of falling apart, even though I will say it's good to see the Mets win out of that series. That was pretty good for them. But I agree with him. I think the Reds are the best team in that division. I said it last year. I thought the Reds were going to win the NL Central after Pujols left the Cardinals. If Pujols still on the Cardinals, then the Cardinals will probably be a lot better. But since he is gone, that team with Joey Votto, it's a lock for them.
Joey Votto, Jay Bruce, Drew Stubbs, Brandon Phillips. Yeah. And then you have Homer Bailey. It's just
they got a good club up there in Cincinnati. They should win that division. They don't win the division. That's be very sad.
They'll probably win their first couple playoff games.
We're up in Cincinnati. So.
MX Horror X second. Who would win in a pie eating contest? The Big Show, Rikishi, Mark Henry, Matt Hardy. That's weird.
Fat Hardy
or Big B. I gotta say, Big B.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I would disagree with this. I would disagree with this question on one ground.
You don't like pie?
Well, I love pie. I love all kinds of pie. But the reason I say that is because I've been trying to get in healthier shape, so I don't think I'd be in any competition for this pie contest. So I'm gonna cross my name out and put in someone else called Kevin Steen. I think Kevin Steen would win the pie contest. That's my answer. I think Kevin Steen would win. So that's my answer, brother. My answer.
That wraps it up for Viewsor questions. As always, we appreciate all your comments, concerns, and quandaries and criticisms.
Inquiries.
Inquiries. Thank you. I knew I was missing one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to headlines. And,
whoa.
Well, yeah, we gotta do the music.
Gotta forget the viewer of the week.
Oh yeah,
failure.
Duh. Sorry.
Who's annoying this week?
I don't know. What do you want to do? Who do you want to do? Come on. 3.
I'm gonna go with.
It's your turn.
It is my turn. Well, you know what? Since we answered 2 of his questions, and one of them was particularly pertinent to DWA, I'm awarding Buck and 5 this week's Triple Threat Talk Viewer of the Week.
Congratulations.
And now, since Postmaster is not here, I will play the theme song again.
Doctor, give me the news. I got the bad case of the headline blues.
What? Are we back?
It looks like a blind man trying to find a box of tissues.
I was looking for a box of tissues.
Whatever. Anyway, headlines.
Headline. Now, since we weren't on last week, there's a lot of headlines.
We won't spend all the time on them.
Yeah. Nick Fairley back on the field with the Lions after spending most of last season on the bench with turf toe.
Turf toe.
It doesn't sound like a bad injury, but my goodness, people are sidelined with that.
It is. It's worse than it sounds.
It is. It's one of those things. Oh, you got turf toe. No, it's very major.
Yeah. Turf toe.
Del Negro to return as the Clippers coach. That's a bad idea. Dolphins will be featured on Hard Knocks.
I'm not going to lie. I watched Hard Knocks before when the Jets were on it. It was controversial because of the things Rex Ryan would say. The Dolphins, I'll be honest, there's not really a big storyline over there in Miami, so I don't know why they're on Hard Knocks to begin with. I don't know how they got on there. You like to see some team with some kind of interesting top, like the Jets would be interesting again because of what's going on with Sanchez and Tebow. Maybe some with the Redskins is Robert Griffin, but no, it's the Dolphins, which have no. So
Sugar Shane Mosley retiring at 40 from boxing.
That's a
40.
What's wrong with that?
40.
What's wrong with 40?
Usually boxers, by the time they're 35, they're done.
I was gonna say 40 is definitely old enough.
No, yeah.
You can get your brain bashing for so long, I will just quit.
Let's see. We got NFL to hire new referees potentially. 1 year removed from their collective bargaining agreement expiring with the players, the CBA with the referees has expired as well.
Right.
And they are nowhere close to an agreement. No. So kind of like where the players were.
Right.
Speaking of football, T.O. gets cut from the IFL and loses ownership.
His career is...
Now, though, he's wanting to fire his agent because his agent thinks he's done with him.
Right.
And it's not going to make him any more money because, you know, it's all about that 10% you
Right.
get.
I'll ask you this question because you're a Niners fan, obviously. And he was on...
I don't want him.
Well, I wasn't going to ask about if you want him, because you already got Mario Manningham, Randy Moss, 2 excellent seasons, with Vernon Davis. You got a heck of a receiving core up there in San Francisco. But the thing I'm going to ask you is because he was the most his most popular team was with the Niners. Obviously. That was where he was most potent. He is second in all-time receiving yards behind the legendary Jerry Rice. So I'm going to ask you is T.O.'s career over? And if it's not, who takes him, if anybody?
It is over. I don't think his on-the-field behavior in his in-locker room is just atrocious, they say.
Yeah.
I mean, they say he's gotten better. And I will say this for him. When you have San Francisco players, because what he wants to do, and the reason I said I don't want him is because he wants to come back to San Francisco, and this is not me being a Niners fan, because like I said, I don't want him on the team. But he does want to come back to San Francisco. He wants to finish where he started, which is admirable.
I can't blame them.
And I can't blame that either. And when you have people like Dante Whitner and Patrick Willis saying he's turned around, you kind of want to believe him.
Especially Patrick Willis.
Yeah. It's one of those things, though, that him and Dante Whitner were actually on the team at one point together. And Dante Whitner is saying, yeah, he's ready to... He's ready to, if everything they're saying is true and he has turned a new leaf, then yeah, absolutely. Bring him on. Let him finish.
Right.
Give him a 1-year contract, $375,000 or whatever, maybe $500,000, give him a year.
Right.
and let him finish in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I don't have if what they're saying is true.
Yeah.
If nothing's changed, I don't want him.
I don't know if he gets another shake because obviously he obviously worked out for teams and no one took him. That's why he got to the IFL in the first place. So will we see eventually a team get so desperate that they need a receiver that they sign him? I don't know. Keep a lookout during the NFL season. If a team gets, or if one of their key receivers gets injured, does somebody call him? I mean, we'll see. I mean, he obviously is a good receiver. That's no doubt, obviously. But do his off the field antics supersede what he can do on the field? That remains to be seen. So.
Big Ten wants the playoff selection panel so that everything is not biased toward the SEC and the Big 12 when they move to which is understandable. I think this is a good move by the Big Ten because often, and it is true, but often SEC is predicted as dominant. But I would not have a problem with this because you never know. The college football landscape changes from year to year. Maybe there comes a time in 10 years when the SEC isn't dominant, and they still got a big say in the selection committee, and that wouldn't be a good idea. So I definitely think a selection committee is a good idea for the future. Like something because the SEC's not always going to be the power. I mean, what it used to be, like the Big East, for example, how the mighty have fallen. Used to have Pittsburgh as a good team, U of L, Syracuse used to be a good football team, and now U of L's on the rebound, but really U of L now Boise State are the only two powerhouse football programs that are in the Big East. So that conference certainly fell apart.
Syracuse is if the referees don't look at the
That's true. Syracuse's problem is the other way around. Serena, we're going to talk on this a little bit, but I do want to, because it is a headline. We'll go more in depth when you cover tennis. I just want to mention it here. Serena fell in the first round of the French Open for the first time in her career in a Grand Slam.
She came into that tournament with a 17-match winning streak. It was snapped in the first round, and I know this is about Serena. Well, I'll get into more French Open stuff in a minute. I will, but it was surprising because not only did she lose her first round match in singles, but she had a doubles match, a mixed doubles match with one of the Bryan brothers, and she lost that too. So she was done pretty quickly.
We'll cover that here in a second. And with Big Show's recent win of the IC title, Big B will be happy to know that he is now added to a list of 16 other superstars who are WWE Triple Crown winners. And speaking of the Triple Crown,
Big Show is part of it.
Can we do 1978 all over again? It's this Saturday. I'll have another
4:30.
Runs for history. And I cannot, if you care about the thoroughbred industry like I do, like Postmaster does, if you care about this, you are rooting for I'll Have Another.
This will be one of the biggest watched races in a while. What was the last time? Was it 2002 War Emblem or War Emerald? One of those?
No, War Emerald ran in like the 1800s. War Emblem.
War Emblem about 10 years ago. He won the first two, and then the third one obviously he did not win. So
and Big Brown, obviously after that happened, Big Brown was the most recent one to do that.
Has it happened since, was it affirmed in 78?
Affirmed in 78. I cannot stress how important this is because there is a huge debate in the thoroughbred industry whether it can be ever done again because of the stringent racing regulations, because of the stringent breeding regulations. They don't breed naturally because they're afraid they might hurt the horses. A lot of it's done artificially. There's just a huge controversy right now, and a Triple Crown winner would put all that to... I cannot tell you. A sport has not needed a major thing like this to happen since... in a long time, as much as the thoroughbred industry needs I'll Have Another to win the Belmont.
And I'll Have Another's won his two races the same way, where I was going to say Terry Bodie. Bodie Meister has been in the lead and it just ran out of gas, and I'll Have Another said, boom, bye. So he's done that twice. Bodie Meister will not be running in the Belmont, so I'll Have Another just has to figure it out some other way. Will he win it the same way again? Will he come from behind? What's he going to do?
Came from today. He'll be on the 11th post. And he is currently a 4-5 favorite. So we will see. We will see. Obviously, I'm rooting for him. Obviously, history. No one thought it was going to happen. First of all, when he won the Derby, it's like, yeah, okay, won the Derby. Then it's okay, someone else is going to play like Bodie Meister because it's an easier track for him. All that wins again. So now you have a chance at history. It hasn't been done over almost 40 years. So. And a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the similarities between Affirmed and Aladar. They are eerie. So I think I don't want to put anything on the line and say we're going to see one because
I want to see it.
I do.
I know he wants to too. But again, I'll point out again, no one saw him winning the Preakness, and he did it anyway. Yeah. So it's something to think about.
And of course, the big news, the big headline, I actually didn't write down because we both knew it. The Mets, of course, had a no-hitter over the weekend for the first time in franchise history.
Johan Santana.
Johan Santana. And people want to get all technical about, it should have ended in a 6 inning. Really?
I know.
Really? I mean, maybe the ball
might have hit the chalk.
Might have hit the chalk. Maybe. I doubt it. It kind of looks...
It was close.
More so than not. Or more not so than so.
Right, but nonetheless, they got a no-hitter. It was a great moment, not just for baseball, but for a Mets fan. And I'll say this before we head to another commercial break. I'm very disappointed in ESPN. A no-hitter is not something that happens all the time. And not only did it not happen, did they not show it, but it was a franchise that had never done it before. And what they could have shown it was, I mean, basketball's on one of the ESPN channels, which is fine. But on the other channel, they could have showed it. They could have cut it and showed it, but they had like highlights of something. It's like, you're supposed to be known the biggest sports network in the world, and this is a historical moment, and you don't show it. I thought it was very poor on their part.
They keep it up versus network is going to over because ESPN. I love the 4-letter network. I really do. They have so many biases, though.
Yeah, they do. Well, a lot of networks give them a lot of money. So.
Like, I don't like Pittsburgh, but I give Pittsburgh their props when their props are due.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Right.
Over there sometimes. But anyways, we got to take a commercial break. We got to take a commercial break. We'll be back after this.
Hey, Nick Dinsmore here. Do you have the dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Well, I did, and I came to Ohio Valley Wrestling. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. I'm a former WWE superstar. I'm a former 9-time Ohio Valley Wrestling heavyweight champion, and I can train you to be the best today. For all the information regarding the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class, go to ovwrestling.com and click on school. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. ovwrestling.com, click on school.
All right, welcome back.
Big V, take us to some tennis.
Tennis, we're getting some more headlines here. Not headlines, or we're getting more sports topics. French Open. I'm not going to go over everything because that's going to take forever. No, we are at the Final Four. The Final Four have been determined. No surprise, it's Federer and Djokovic in the Finals 4.
I'm shocked.
All right. In the Final Four, although it was tough.
Flabbergasted. Befuddled even.
Djokovic was down in the match against Tsonga. Tsonga had 4 match points at one point, but Djokovic battled back, showing the tough player that he is. Made it that way. Federer had a tougher time as well. He was down 2 sets to none on Del Potro, and he was down, and Federer battled back the spectacular player that he is. So he's in the semifinals, and then today Nadal took care of business. He has lost a set-all tournament. That's nothing short of impressive, going for his historical 7th French Open title, which will set him all-time record, passing Bjorn Borg. And then today...
Who?
Bjorn Borg.
Who?
You know who that is.
Who?
Stop it. And then Andy Murray, people thought he'd make the Final Four, but it was interrupted by David Ferrer, who beat him in 4 sets. David Ferrer is a very excellent clay court player. So that's the Final Four there. The women's finals are spectacular.
Serena Williams is in the Final Four, right?
No.
Why not?
She lost in the first round. We already said that.
Why not?
Because she didn't win. Sharapova's there, who people saw expected. If she wins her match in the semis against who's she playing?
Really? You don't know something?
Petra Kvitova, who she played at Wimbledon, and Kvitova won that match. If Sharapova gets to the final, she would be #1. She doesn't have to win. Obviously, she'd like to because it would give her a career.
Wasn't that an upset at Wimbledon? Like, you were talking about that, and now she's back at the French Open, so maybe this girl can play tennis.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. But I think Maria's the favorite here. She's playing better. She's a better clay courter than Kvitova is. And then the other side, Sam Stosur, who won the U.S. Open last year, is playing the surprise, the Italian Arani. She's a surprise. I think Stosur has enough game to get to the final. I like Sharapova to get to the final as well. On the men's side, how can you argue against Nadal?
Djokovic.
The Djokovic-Federer thing is very, very good match. Last year it was an excellent match. Federer won that one. Both of them are playing at the best they were last year. Djokovic is a little struggling. He didn't have the winning streak he had last year. Federer has been streaky as well. I think the rest is going to help Federer. I think Federer might get there again, which kind of hurts because if it's Nadal and Federer on clay, you got to favor Nadal. So I think Nadal's going to win the 7th title, and I think Sharapova's going to win her career Grand Slam and become the world #1. So French Open coming up this weekend. Check it out on NBC and ESPN too.
Thank you for that. Very good coverage. As usual for tennis, on behalf of Postmaster Jones, I will be covering a little bit of golf before we get into the playoffs. I'm swinging left. No?
You're not.
Okay. Tiger Woods did win a minor tournament this week. I know Postmaster were here, and I don't mean to make fun of you, buddy, because I know you're watching. He's back. He last time he won a tournament, he followed up with the poorest master showing of his career. I look for the same to happen when they go into the Golf U.S. Open coming up in the next week.
Like I was telling you before, let's see Tiger finish in the top 3 in a major. Then you can say, okay, Tiger Woods is back.
He's fallen way off. The course out in San Francisco, which is where they're playing, is very tight, very narrow, and Tiger Woods, even when he was in his prime, the one thing he could never hit was accuracy. He was frequently, at one point he was the 156th worst accurate swinger on the PGA. But it didn't matter because his short game, his mid game, and his short game were phenomenal. That's why he did what he can hit the ball long. It's just which way is it gonna? I remember one time in Scotland with no breeze, one of the rare times that they have with no breeze, he hit it 50 yards off the fairway. So that's pretty bad. Ricky Fowler and he were paired in going into the last day. Ricky Fowler was 10 under. Finished 10 over. So clearly Ricky Fowler not having a good day there. I'm sorry, 8 under. I'm sorry, 8 under.
Not a good day at the office.
And finished 10 over, so he gave up 18 strokes. So I can't say, and that's my other argument, and it won't be just Postmaster thinking that Tiger Woods is back. I was about to say Tiger Jones. But Tiger Woods is not back. If Ricky Fowler would have had even remotely a decent day at the office, Ricky Fowler would have won Jack Nicklaus tournament that happened, of course, this weekend. That's really all I've got to say. It's pretty much debunking everything anybody can say about Tiger Woods. It boils down to Ricky Fowler had probably the worst day of his career. Worked all week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to build a lead. Had the sole lead going into Sunday. And had other people overtake him, and his score just went down and down and down. No pressure applied to Tiger. I think maybe Ricky just had a bad day, and people have bad days.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
But
believe me.
Yeah. NASCAR this weekend.
I'm going left.
Jimmy Johnson won Dover.
I'm in Delaware.
Kurt Busch banned for Poconos race due to actions and words that I'm sure Postmaster will elaborate on next week. I'm going to save that for him and also give you a juicy nugget to kind of chew in on. Why did Kurt Busch get suspended? We know. You don't. We'll get Postmaster's take next week.
Way to dangle the carrot.
I know, right? I like to do that every now and then.
I can tell.
NHRA, Steve Torrance took top fuel.
Straight.
Johnny Gray won Funny Car, and Greg Anderson gets the W in the Pro Stock. Now we go into the playoffs. Let's go. Let's cover first the Stanley Cup.
Let's not. This is very disheartening.
Isn't Jersey like getting beat like a redheaded stepchild?
Redheaded. That's the color's red. You know, when the Devils beat the Rangers, who were the best team in the East this year, it was a good moment for me to see them make the Stanley Cup. But they're just getting obliterated. But bear in mind, the games haven't been a blowout except for the last game where they lost 4-0. But the Kings, who beat the Canucks, who were the favorite in the Stanley Cup this year. The Kings they're just destroying everyone. They have had no problems in this Stanley Cup playoffs at all. And it's definitely evident here against the Devils. They're currently playing right now. If the Devils lose tonight, it's a sweep, and that's such a shame because the Devils worked so hard this year to get there. Credits to the Kings. If they do win tonight, we'll know by tomorrow. I'll post something.
Score was 0-0 at last check.
I'll post something on the Triple Threat Talk page by tonight. It'll be over by then. Hopefully, the Devils can maybe keep it going, but if they don't, hats off to the Devils for getting there, and hats off to the Kings for playing an impressive Stanley Cup.
Now I want to get into the NBA.
Let's.
Usually, I could care less about the NBA.
Really?
Usually. The playoffs, I pay a little bit of attention. These two playoff series have been nothing short of phenomenal. Nothing short of phenomenal. Postmaster is saying that the Spurs were going to blow out OKC. Right now, at last check, they are winning tonight.
Right.
But Oklahoma City has won the last 3 games.
Who said Oklahoma City was going to win?
We did. These guys right here.
Yeah.
Now,
Spurs are still in it.
Spurs are still in it. We're not calling them done.
But again, Oklahoma City's won 3 straight.
But one of the things that's going on here
and
is
Spurs' record in 7 games isn't good either. So
the Thunder have pulled a Rick Pitino. And what I mean by that is a compliment. What I mean by that is Rick Pitino is renowned, like we cover in college ball. One of his big things is he can plan. Rick Pitino is one of the few coaches in the NCAA who can take a player out of the equation. The Thunder have done just that with Tony Parker.
Right, absolutely.
They have shut Tony Parker down so much so that they are just putting him on the bench at this point because the Thunder have figured him out. That's why they lost the first 2 games. And I told Postmaster that, and he thought it was crazy. I don't think he remembers it because it was a conversation like a week ago.
Right.
But I said the Thunder are just feeling them out. That's why the Spurs went up 2-0. That's why when he talked to us about it, I just kind of shook my head. Right. I was like, no way. No. But the Thunder are not going to get swept. Obviously, they're now winning the series 3-2. At last check, the Spurs were up by 10 points.
Right.
But they have just completely shut down Tony Parker.
Right.
Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook are playing out of their minds, as is Rajon Rondo in the other series. But I really see Oklahoma City winning this thing.
I do too.
Winning this series. Of course, it depends on who wins between the Celtics and the Heat.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not counting the Spurs out, but my opinion, and like I said, I've been wrong about basketball like once on the show.
Yeah. But I do like Oklahoma City.
I like Oklahoma City to win this.
I do too. I like them in the whole thing, to be honest.
The Celtics win 3 in a row as well. It's kind of weird. Going to Miami, of course, last night they won at Miami. Which is
very huge win for Boston. Huge.
I've never seen numbers be so skewed.
Yeah.
LeBron James, 30 points, 12 assists. KG, 18 points, 12 assists. And you're thinking, clearly LeBron had the better night. No.
Nope.
He did not.
No.
Kevin Garnett's presence was just so phenomenal because he got those rebounds. He turned a lot of 50-50 balls, like balls can go either way. He turned a lot of them into Celtics possessions. That's what the numbers don't show. The numbers never show effort. LeBron was out-hustled last night. He was out everything except for outscored. That's the only thing he was not outed on.
Right.
It was ridiculous. LeBron played a good game. The Heat's lost last night, and I'm not a LeBron lover. But the Heat's loss last night was not LeBron's fault. It was a team effort on everybody's part except for LeBron.
Right.
LeBron James he played his heart out last night. Usually I don't compliment him at all, but he did play his heart out last night. Chris Bosh is not his fault either because he's coming off an injury.
Right, so.
The only thing Eric Spoelstra has done, the coach of the Heat, that I think is wrong here is he played Bosh maybe one day sooner than he should have been played. It wasn't Bosch's fault, but I think when you look at the tapes, that's whose fault it's going to point to why they lost this game, and it's undeservedly so. Coming off of an injury like that. A lot of people are saying Eric Spoelstra is not coaching well. I disagree. I think he is coaching very well.
Yeah.
He's a young coach, but he's made the finals the last 2 years.
Right.
So you can't say that he's not a good coach. Yeah, a lot of it's been on the shoulders of LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and all that, but that will only take you so far. It is something when they get to the finals that is stopping them, and I think what it comes down to is ego.
Yeah, probably.
There's too much ego
when they first formed the three, Bosch, Wade, and LeBron's like, oh, just give them the titles now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so much expectation.
Win 10 champions.
So much expectation. But.
And that was the thing I've been wrong about in basketball. I made a statement on the show last year that those three would not be on the same team together this year. But they all kept none of them got a raise. They kept the salary, so they still kept within the salary cap. That's the only reason. A lot of indications do indicate that next year they will not be together, so that is probably a true statement this year. But that's been really the only thing I've been wrong about in basketball. But Rondo, I do want to take a break here and get back. I'm going to talk about Rajon Rondo, and you're going to want to hear this. We'll be back on Triple Threat Talk. No voltage this week?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. There are personal things that happened this week with with Fox and Hound. Other things. So there's no voltage this week, but we'll give you a quick preview and this update here.
Voltage next week.
Voltage next week. Next Friday. Paul Blart will defend his Interstar title against Aladdin, so he's going to fight someone else again.
You're welcome. I didn't fight any champion.
I didn't say thank you. Tim Tebow will battle LeBron James. They made their debuts on the return episode of Destruction. They're going to battle it out this week. This Evil Inc. thing has me very worried because you have not only Virus, well, I was going to say, not only do you have Captain Pollution and Jafar, but you have the most powerful entity in the DWA's history, the Virus, as a team.
Okay. Well, as an individual. As a team,
I meant as
the most powerful individuals are the Doctors.
Well, I meant as a whole.
He needs to stay away from me because I will screw him up. He hasn't done anything
to you yet.
And not yet. I will screw him up.
He knew he was first there. So, the poll for the 6th spot is pretty much over. It's a foregone conclusion that the critic is going to win.
It is a note that we need to throw in here, though. The poll will not officially close until 3 weeks right before Destruction. So
you still have time.
Plenty of time.
Still have time, but like I said, critics pretty far ahead of everybody else. So pretty much I can say this: the match, the interactive insurrection for the Lansford Open, the 6 men. Not only will, if the critic wins the poll, he gets to the 6th spot, but he will be the last person to enter in the chamber. So a big advantage for him.
Absolutely.
All the 5 other guys he will battle. You have Silva Charles, Seiler, Nico Bellic, Kenny Chesney. Elvis Presley, and Steve Blackman, and probably the critic. I would say so. It's going to be an interesting card. The CPV is for you, the fans. A lot of polls are going to come out every so often, including tag teams and certain match types, so it's going to be all about what you fans want.
So check the DWA webpage, and looking past Voltage to Destruction in 3 weeks, for the winners of the Lance Burton Open, the Doctor has something a little bit special in store for all of you, including the members of the Doctor's Order that are involved in this, in the order of fairness. Because of the DWA Board of Directors, I have to be fair and just.
Maybe I'll find someone $10.
But yeah, I've got something in store for all of you. So
keep it locked here for DWA coverage, and back to Triple Threat Talk.
And we are back here on Double Threat Talk.
Double Threat Talk.
Dynamic duo talk.
I like it.
Celtics. So I was going to talk about Rondo. I've never seen somebody more underrated in my life. You know how much Rondo makes?
A lot.
Take a guess.
Is it a year?
Yeah, a year.
10 million.
Higher.
Really?
But he makes 12 million a year. Okay. Compared to other people, though, it's chump change.
Wasn't far off.
I mean, I'm not going to sneeze at 12 million. You want him at 12 million, I'm fine. Right, you got 12 million on you? If you need change, I think I might have some.
This pocket's empty. Wait, let me check that one.
Oh, okay.
This pocket's full of. I got it.
No. Pocket line?
Nothing. Sorry.
I'm not going to sneeze. Well, no,
I don't think
I'm just not going to do it. But I do know that as far as the NBA point guards goes, the biggest bargain in the NBA right now is Rajon Rondo. Kid is shooting out of his mind. Phenomenal shooting. People said his shot is improving. I've always thought his shot was there. LeBron James has that John Wall speed, which is weird because they both went to Kentucky. Both premier point guards at the University of Kentucky. I know, right? They've both got that 6th gear, and that's where Rajon Rondo, even when he's not producing offensively on the points, he always gets double-figure assists, always, and he can get to the line. And even if you don't make those free throws, which people often say you got to make them,
make your free throw.
I'll look at it another way. One foul on another player makes that person tighten up just a little bit.
Right.
Just a little bit. And we saw LeBron James be fouled out for the first time in this series since he went to the Heat.
Exactly.
He's never been fouled out until this series as a member of the Heat. Ever. He was fouled out a couple times at Cleveland. But, I mean, it's just uncanny what Rondo can do. And I think that a lot of people have been saying it's the big three: Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and
Kevin Garnett.
Thank you. I had a brain fart there. Kevin Garnett. But you got to put Rondo in that team. Rondo has been the best player on that team the last couple years.
Absolutely.
No one has recognized it. I've always said, give me Rajon Rondo before you give me Chris Paul.
I'll take him.
And I think it's one of those things that Rajon Rondo has characteristics like speed and agility and just all-around mental toughness that Chris Paul does not. He has traits that the Celtics need, whereas Chris Paul has traits that other members of the Los Angeles Clippers have.
Right.
But Chris Paul is just a little bit better at them, maybe.
Right.
So as far as more value to the team, I'm always going to say Rajon Rondo. And I think that Rajon Rondo is just extremely, extremely underrated. I mean, that's pretty much all I got. This is my breakdown of Rondo. Rondo in this series is playing out of his mind. He has a 44-point game, double-digit assists, double-digit steals throughout the entire series now. Double-digit points every game so far. He's just playing out of his mind.
Right. So.
I mean, just ridiculous, out of his mind.
So that does it for sports.
That does it for sports this week. Unless you got anything to add.
No, I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
Alright, so here's what we're going to do.
Move on to wrestling.
We're going to move on to OVW.
Right.
For those of you that did not see it, last week we caught up with Dean Hill. Phenomenal storyteller. Phenomenal. I mean, there's just no other way to tell it.
Nope.
The interview, like we covered in the update, the reason we want to replay this is A, it was an update last week, and clearly we get more viewers on the show.
Yeah, it wasn't a full show.
It wasn't a full show. We want to give Dean Hill his fair shake because he deserves it. He's
Absolutely.
a phenomenal storyteller. So we did want to do that. It's a 13-minute. I'm going to say it's a 13-minute interview.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
But it doesn't play like a 13-minute. I mean, we looked at each other. I looked down at my watch after we started the interview. It was done.
It didn't feel like that long.
It did not feel like, because he draws you in. He really does. So we caught up to Dean Hill, the voice of OVW. This is what he had to say about the past, the present, and the future of Ohio Valley Wrestling. Take a look.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to world famous Danny Davis. And I'm standing by the world famous, the voice of Ohio Valley Wrestling, Mr. Dean Hill.
You just did my bit. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Triple Threat Talk. I'm Dean Hill, alongside what's your name?
Postmaster Joe.
Postmaster Joe. Obviously, you just did my bit. That was great. You did a good job.
Well, you get a awesome introduction. You're one of the finest wrestling icons in this business, if you ask me. I mean, you've seen them all, Dean. You've seen the likes of Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, Jeff Jarrett, John Cena, just to name a few. I mean, you've seen...
I've had the pleasure of announcing Fez. This goes back to generations. So I've had the pleasure of being a ring partner, tag team partner with Handsome Jimmy Valiant. That was an experience that I'll never forget. Yeah, I've seen a few things, I guess. It comes with being an old guy.
So, we all know, everybody gets their start in this business somehow. And you've told me before, you didn't really have an inspiration. Pro wrestling wasn't really what you wanted to be involved with. You kind of had a weird scenario of what brought you into this business. So tell the fans out there exactly how you got your start.
It wasn't that I didn't want to be in pro wrestling, it's just that I never really considered it or thought about it. I started out on my grandfather's lap watching Dick the Bruiser and Gorgeous George on the one TV set in Indiana. But as an off-duty job as a local police officer, I used to run security for Louisville Gardens. Every Tuesday night, we would walk the bad guys, if you will, out to the ring. I walked Hulk Hogan out the first time he ever came. I walked Andy Kaufman to the ring the first time that he came to Louisville Gardens. And one week, the ring announcer was able to be there, and Christine Jarrett asked me if I wanted to be the ring announcer for that night, and I thought, thought, well, it would be fun, so I did. At the end of the night, she said that, well, Dean, you got interesting tone to your voice. Do you want to do it again next week? So in the week between, I actually turned on the television, paid attention to Lance Russell and Mean Gene and Gordon Soley, and learned how they did it. I came back the next week with a nicer jacket on and dropped my voice down a little bit and said, and in this corner, and next thing you know, they offered me the job.
All right. Good stuff. So, you've been through a lot. You've seen a lot. What to this point in your career has been your biggest moment or your highlight of getting involved in professional wrestling?
Well, quite honestly, there's two or three. One of the biggest events that they had with USW Wrestling many years ago was to almost 5,000 people at Wilbur Gardens. The Last Dance, which was pretty close to that at Wilbur Gardens, was huge. One of the most electrifying moments in my career was at Kentucky Kingdom, just after John Cena had gone to the WWF at that time, and he was coming back to be part of our show. We had 3,500 people in Kentucky Kingdom, and it started to pour. I don't mean just rain. I mean it was raining so hard the rain was jumping an inch up off the ground when it hit the pavement.
So we're talking gully washing.
We're talking gully washing. Not a single person left. And John Cena stood on top of a Humvee surrounded by the military, and they marched him into that arena, and you could have touched any one single person and electrified the entire Kentucky Kingdom. And it was just such a huge moment, and I'm fortunate to be a part of that.
Awesome stuff. So you've obviously interviewed a lot of superstars over the years. You've interacted with a lot of superstars over the years. You've seen a lot. In your mind personally, who's been some of the best interviews that you've been able to, interview?
Well, gosh, how many professional wrestlers can you go through as far as actually having a chance to do an interview with somebody that's very articulate and his mind is constantly working? You'd have to put Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman in that area. As far as professional wrestlers go, I'd have to say Al Snow is one of the smartest guys. As far as somebody of huge name, you'd have to go back to Jerry the King Lawler, Hanson Jimmy Valiant. One of the most awkward moments that I had was with one of the local, but it wasn't Hawk.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't an in-depth interview. It was kind of quick, and one of those things where you said, "Yes, sir, thank you," and you walked away.
So finally, before we let you go here, we know that Miss Josette Bynum has been reigning some terror, and I know it's under your skin pretty heavy.
Yeah, especially since I've defended a few people that have turned their back on OVW for case in point. Okay, come here. The doctor stepped up and said that he made an observation a few months ago that he was a potential cancer that was growing in OVW. Sometimes the son that you're hoping will never go wrong or go down the wrong path, you will defend that prodigal son to the nth degree. And I had that situation with him. And I truly thought that, or perhaps I should say I didn't want to think, that what the doctor was saying was something that was potentially true. I was wrong. The doctor was right. And mark that down as the score, Dean Hill 25, the doctor won.
I like that. That sounds about right.
How's does it feel to finally be right one time?
Well, I think our viewers know. I appreciate the humor there. The viewers know I'm right a lot. I haven't been right over you. I haven't really, we haven't really had differences of opinion. This was just one. And I know that it definitely, for people here in the Davis Arena, they saw us. You would speak to them, and you wouldn't really speak to me. So I did know that your feelings are pretty sharp. And I did want to apologize. I appreciate you stepping up and saying what you just said. It really touches me. It really means a lot. I did want to say that I'm sorry about Chris Sharp and the developments here in OVW from the bottom of my heart. Because I know sometimes...
It's not like you had anything to do with it.
Right.
You were just seeing it from the outside.
Right.
You were seeing it without having the rose-colored glasses on. Chris was a dear friend of mine for a long time. Chris has been to my home. Chris helped me a year ago move 250 bales of hay out of my farm.
Baronis brothers just do that.
and the Baronis brothers have a spider phobia, and getting in Dean Hill's barn in June is there's a spider or two up there, and when you have the Baronis brothers hairdo, that is an invitation. That is an invitation for a spider to make a home out of it. And if you want to see the Baronis brother, one of them, have a reaction, walk up and go, is that a spider? It's hilarious. But you were looking at it from the outside. You saw something that, in retrospect, you look back, yes, we probably all would have seen that. Just didn't want to believe that it was possible.
And sometimes you can feel so strongly about something that that you just don't want to believe it. And I know the current situation with Miss Taylor Hendricks is another one of those situations where she's apparently kind of back to the Josette Miner's corner too. So there's a lot of power in that corner, and you can understand, but a lot of hearts are being broken, and a lot of friends are separating this part of OVW. And I guess it's just one of those things where we really do feel sorry for you guys, because we know that friendships are being lost, and we know that enemies are being made that you just wouldn't normally do. And, I'm just kind of glad that we're here to catch this, because this is an interesting time in OVW, and it's been an honor that you guys have let us in and done this. And this is an amazing experience to see all these happenings unfold. And so maybe run into sometimes help you guys through, because like I said, I know you have friends here that are transitioning, and sometimes it's not always for the best.
Speaking of that, under the heading of who would have thunk it, as my grandfather said, Jason Wayne, who would have thunk it? Chris Sharp, who would have thunk it? Just the idea of the way that Josette got control of this organization, the way that she has divided this organization, and the people that you would have thought would have never turned their back on the wrestling fans, OVW, and the wrestling world. Who would have thought?
So, let me ask you this. In your mind personally, what's it going to take, or I should say maybe who, even for that matter, is it going to take to stop the reign of terror that this in your mind?
Well, I thought about running her down with the GMC pickup truck. Kind of hate to go that far. Quite honestly, you never know. I don't want to predict anything. I mean, after Jason Wayne did his thing, after Chris Sharp did the despicable act that he did last week, it's hard to predict where this may come from. My father used to say, if a situation's gone wrong, it will bring itself down eventually. I think the biggest concern that Josette Bynum ought to have is Josette Bynum. Because at some point she's liable to just get too big for her big girl panties. And we'll have to wait and see. Maybe what is it, the child that reaches out in a moment of panic and changes the face of history? Who knows what may happen? It may be somebody that you don't even expect. Maybe it could be Mickey. I understand there's been some about Mickey. Mickey is a loving young man that came to us with a dream, not unlike Michael Hayes that came here with a dream, not unlike every single other one of these wrestling men and women that came here with a dream of being the next Rock, the next John Cena, or Randy Orton, or Shelton Benjamin, or Brock Lesnar, or who else do I have that's come through these ropes? Mickey wanted to do that, and he came here with the blessing of his mom and dad, came here with the blessing of everyone that knew him, and he was embraced here. He was actually much like a kid that's walking the streets, and he's been influenced and pulled by your gangs that are out there, but he knows it's the wrong place to be, and he finds the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCA. Him a safe haven to go to and a safe haven to turn into a man, and Mickey found that here, and Mickey wanted to be part of everything he's been part of. And for those of you that don't know Mickey, Mickey has grown into a man here in the last month or so. Whatever your take is on this, we are proud, and I have Mickey on the back all the time and say, son, superstar, and nobody smiles bigger about that than he does.
Dean, we really appreciate your time, sir. It's an honor and a pleasure for having you.
My pleasure.
And we welcome you on the show again. This is Postmaster Jones from Triple Threat Talk, and this has been a pleasure to interview the one and only Mr. Dean Hill.
Wow.
Wow, that was amazing.
It's the second time I've seen that interview. I mean, of course, the third time because I was there for it.
Right.
Wow. I mean, just wow.
Excellent stuff.
We want to thank Dean Hill for that amazing interview. You can come on the show anytime. Yeah. Anytime.
Well, hopefully it's still on here.
Yeah, not here. Nowhere. We want to thank Terry Bodie for everything he does for us. I want to thank everybody at the Davis Arena. Visit Terry Bodie's page at www.thefanadvocate.com.
Actually, you can actually find an interview with OVW board directors Ken Wayne with Terry Bodie on that page as well.
And I think actually he's given us permission to.
He did.
You want to do that?
He did.
You want to?
Sure. This is special. Terry Bodie, the fan advocate of Ohio Valley Wrestling, has an interview with OVW board directors Nightmare Ken Wayne. If you don't know who that was, when Danny Davis was wrestling, it was his tag team partner. So a lot of stuff he has to say about what's going on with OVW, and he's board director, so let's see what he has to say.
Fans, welcome to this week's edition of After the Bell. I'm your host, the fan advocate, Terry Bodie. And with me is a guest that the Ohio Valley Wrestling fans have been looking to see for a long time. Our very special guest, Ohio Valley Wrestling Board of Directors member, Ken Wayne.
Thank you for having me here, bud.
Thank you, Mr. Wayne. Mr. Wayne, simply this, the Ohio Valley Wrestling fans have been asking for the Board of Directors to do something about what Josette Bynum and the family have been doing here at Ohio Valley Wrestling for months. What prompted your visit to come to Ohio Valley Wrestling now, and what is the board going to be doing regarding this issue?
Well, the thing was the board informed me, of course I get reports and I read them and everything, and apparently there's been a lot of things going on with Josette, and really I think the last straw was the referee situation and with Mr. Sharp, and you can't let that happen. Here's the thing, you have a business, you have to run this business. You can't be a Morgan Keegan and go behind people's back and doing things not supposed to do. But after a while, you've got to do something. And the thing is, the way she thinks the power to put it and everything is somewhat speculative. And they took longtime owner of OVW, Danny Davis, out of power, which I'm sure, smooth talking lawyer can do that. That's the way the system works. Well, they decided that, hey, it's time for somebody to go down there. It's time to go down, see what's going on, observe her, see what she's doing, see what's going on, pay attention, and move forward from there. So my last week being here was the first step of that. And I'm going to be here, checking things out. I'll be in the back. I got eyes and ears here. And just seeing, getting everything back in the up and up. Because the thing is, OVW has always been about the fans and what the fans want. Well, even though OVW didn't want to do that because of, political wrangling or whatever you want to call it, they weren't quite getting what they wanted. And so they asked me to come in and see what we could find out and get done with it.
Well, as a fan advocate, I can tell you that Ohio Valley Wrestling fans are appreciative of the Board of Directors finally taking a stand and doing what's right in the interest of the fans. You mentioned, sir, that you're going to be here now as a weekly presence, so you're going to be here for a certain amount of time, or is it an ongoing visit that you're going to be here, sir? How long is the evaluation of Ms. Josette Bynum?
Well, actually, I think it's going to be ongoing. The thing is, you can't go and say, hey, I'm going to do for this length of time, because guess what? Anybody can be good for an hour. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that things have to get straightened out. And then also I'll report back to the board, and there'll be directives set down. They have to be followed. They have to be done a certain way, just like there is with anything. You know, if the rules are violated, there'll be punishment set down. You know, so there will be ramifications for any wrongdoing, any below board, you know, finagling and so forth. And the thing is, you know, they figured I was able to do it. You know, unfortunately, I had to travel, you know, all over the world. I've been part not only in the ring, but also in some of the wrestling offices that I was in, and since I retired. And so I do have I got a good idea of how to finagle around and do things. So let's face it, I've done a few of those things myself. So, you know, who better than someone who has done that to step in and say, I can see through that, because I did the same thing.
Absolutely. It's the old thing, you can't sell a salesman. Nobody can take away the credits that you have, Mr. Wayne. I mean, your wrestling background, your wrestling school, you've been a part of everything that goes on. So if there is an authority that can come in and see through and make it transparent, to use your words, you are definitely the man to do it. And you took a big step doing that, announcing matches for the Saturday night special. Is that more of what we're going to expect? Are you now going to be making the matches and making stipulations like you did, or was that just a reaction to what went on?
Well, it's part of reaction to what went on, but also you have to look at things in a fair balance. You know, there's always a give and a take. Well, it seems to me, from what I know, the reports I've read, and I've been told that Ms. Josette was one of those people who were taking advantage of things. So, you know, it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander type of thing. And so those things where I felt that, hey, something needs to be taken care of, these can be stepped into. And you know what? Sometimes you've got to see what it's like to have to shoot on the other foot.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Wayne, again, on behalf of the fans, being the fan advocate, I want to thank you and thank the board of directors for finally taking a stand and trying to right the ship here at Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Thank you for having me.
Fans, we're going to wrap it up for this week's edition of After the Bell. I'm your host, Terry Bodie, the fan advocate, and I'll see you at the shows.
So, that's the first time I've seen that. So, good stuff by Terry.
Very good stuff. Thank you, Terry, for allowing us
to. So, two big stuff this week.
Two big interviews right there. We just cannot thank everybody enough. We might have some big news coming on the OVW front. Can't say anything about that, but stay tuned to Triple Threat Talk.
Hopefully.
For further developments. So let's talk about Saturday Night Special.
Right, because this notes are from last week.
Yeah, these notes are from last week.
Yeah. These notes are Saturday Night Special. What me and Postmaster said came true. Everyone lost their belt except for Rob Terry.
Yep.
Like I said was going to happen. Ali lost to Jamin. Duh. Jesse and Rudy lost to Raul and Shiloh. Duh. Taylor Hendricks lost to Epiphany. Duh. And that was a fail. And then Rob Terry won by disqualification. And somehow Chris Sharp ran into Rob Terry's tricep.
You know,
how does that happen?
I felt like a hurricane force wind. Have you seen Chris Sharp? He's pretty small.
Pretty small.
So I think it was a giant gust of wind, because I felt it too.
Sure.
And I think it just kind of turned him around. And I mean, sometimes you can get drafty in that building. It's a warehouse. I mean, it's one of those things.
You know it's hot in that building.
Well,
you know it's probably being hot in that building. You can have
a dry wind, though. I mean, it happens all the time in Arizona.
Not for him.
I'm just saying. I felt it. Sharp obviously felt it. Hope Chris Sharp feels better today. I know running into a steel truck is never fun.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, these things happen.
Yeah, they happen.
They happen.
Espinosa lost to Paradise, and he had to reveal what he had to reveal. That's pretty much all I'll say about that. And then the one match, I love OVW. Do not get me wrong. Yeah, but they got this one so wrong, guys. Having talented guys like Silvio and Jason Wayne, and having Wayne win in like 5 minutes by a count out. No! Silvio is one of your best talents. Jason wins right after 2, and you don't showcase what these guys can do. Why?
I mean, after Silvio, beautiful Hurricane Rana on the outside to Jason Wayne.
Count out victories are never fun. No one wants to see that.
I mean, it's just.
I mean, I get it because Jason Wayne's a heel.
I get it, yeah.
But when you have a guy like Chris Silvio, I'm like, my God.
That man, the audience was into that man.
Like, my God, the guy goes to ROH for crying out loud. He's good enough.
The audience was into that match. More than one person was disappointed. I think the whole arena,
the whole 300 plus people that were there.
If you knew, I mean, if you know about talent,
right,
and don't get so much into other things, if you just know about talent,
Sylvia's chock full of it.
That was just an amazing match. And to have it cut short like that.
I was very disappointed.
Tony Gunn did get the best of Rafael Constantine.
He didn't get the bear.
But he did not get
trashed.
We're still looking for Ralphie.
Tony Gunn got trashed. Literally.
Not TPT trash.
But trash.
But trash.
Yeah.
I hope Tony Gunn finds the bear. Of course, Nick Dumeyer, the Bloodhound.
The bear's right here.
The Bloodhound and the Marksman, Nick Dumeyer, helped Tony Gunn find it. We know Rafael Constantine has it. We just don't know where he put the damn
Stop hiding the bear, Jenna. We know what you're doing.
Yeah, we know what's going on. By the way, I do want to give a shout out here to Cinnamon Twist or Jenna. Sorry.
I kept calling her Gina. It's Jenna.
Sorry, it's Jenna.
One E.
She came up to us, introduced herself officially to us. A big fan of the show, which I did not know. Puts us on our Facebook page every week.
Did not know that.
Awesome of you. Thank you very much. Definitely want to give you a shout out. Give you your due diligence as one of the escorts.
Like Cinnamon Twist on Facebook.
Yeah, like Cinnamon Twist on Facebook. One of the escorts of X2C. Beautiful young woman. Beautiful. Check her out on her Facebook. Follow her. See what she's up to in OVW. But yeah, thank you. Definitely want to give you a shout out. I think that pretty much covers the special.
I think so, pretty much.
I think it was a great Saturday night special.
Right, it was.
It was very good.
We'll talk about this. We can't go into much detail of it because it's kind of like hush-hush stuff. But with that movie thing we did on Sunday, I'll say this. It was definitely different than I expected. It was different. I wish them all the best. Obviously, with a project that they're really passionate about, I completely get it. I know they want to make it as good as they can be, and I can possibly get that. It was cool being a part of it as an extra. Hopefully, we see ourselves. I think we will, because I remember the camera was on us at
quite
one time.
We were the energy.
One time or another.
And when Terry was there, because Terry Bodie was actually part of it.
Right.
And he had to leave, but he was out in the audience, which is a weird place to see Terry.
Yeah. So, we can't say what it's about. I mean,
you can't say anything.
Hush-hush stuff.
Hush-hush. It was a good experience.
But I'll say one thing, it will come out this year.
Yeah.
Here in Louisville. And when we find out about it, we'll let you know. It was very exciting to be a part of something like that, and I wish those guys all the best.
And it is an interesting concept. Even though it is strange subject matter, it is an interesting concept, and that's all we'll say about it.
So that does it for OV Wrestling this week. Thanks a bunch to them.
Yeah, thank you, OVW. Thank you, Terry Bodie. Thank you, Frank Miller. Even though we haven't heard much from him lately, and they've kind of severed ways right now a little bit, we do want to thank Carl LaGreca because he's definitely helped us out a lot with Papa John's. If you want Papa John's back in the Davis Arena, email.
I'll send all the. I'll put all the email links, and it's pretty funny that Papa John's is so over now. I remember seeing. I know this is kind of off topic, but I remember seeing gameplay video of Madden 13. They're in there as a sponsor. Papa John's is blowing up everywhere. So.
Yeah, we definitely want to urge you guys if you all want to see Papa John's back in the OVW arena. Check that out. The email links, Big B's going to post them. Email them. Tell them.
This is going to be a long description this week. So.
Yeah, so check that out. And there's something different that I don't even understand what we're going to do here. So why don't you take this part away? What are we doing?
What are we doing here?
I don't know. You said the first time ever. What are we? Or not the first time in a long time.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Okay. Usually with wrestling, we go, this happened on Raw.
Well, we haven't been doing that lately.
This happened on SmackDown.
Yeah, that's why.
And bloody.
We've been talking about the one or two major things that's been going on and where they can go from this. So what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is this. Raw and SmackDown, there's not even anything remotely interesting to mention, except for Damien Sandow, who's epic. And the fact that Sin Cara returns to see if he does anything different, and that's about it.
Postmaster.
Right. The thing I'm going to discuss is, I told you this earlier, is that Raw's ratings last night and week before were under 3 for the first time in like 15 years. And it's evident that SmackDown's crowds are diminishing as we speak. Their crowds are just going and keep declining.
8,000.
The thing I post to you is this, and this is going to be our wrestling coverage. There's not going to be any Raw or SmackDown. This is a debate because this is important. WWE's ratings are suffering. I guarantee you I know why. The Big Show's big focal point. No one cares about the Big Show. I'm sorry. I know people out there like the Big Show, and that's fine. If you like the Big Show, I completely get it. If you want to like him, he was good at one point. I agree with that. But if you are a fan of the Big Show, more power to you. That's fine. But he's not interesting anymore. The Big Show needs to retire. He should not be in the main event. He should not be the main focal point of wrestling right now. That's just not That's just not what he could be. I agree with him. When he fought Daniel Bryan, I didn't get it because he was fighting for the title, which I could not stand. But he was getting Daniel Bryan over, which is fine. But he should not be the main focal point of the show. That's why Raw is suffering, because no one cares about this whole people power crap and Big Show stuff. When CM Punk was the main focal point, the ratings were a little bit better, but they weren't great. And SmackDown's been doing bad for such a long time. I mean, what can they do to somehow get ratings, not to the edge there, because it's not going to happen ever again, but somewhat respectable anymore, because they're just suffering.
Here's what the WWE does wrong, and they don't do it a lot wrong. When you go to WWE.com to see what I'm saying is true, go to WWE.com, go to job opportunities, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Go to writers, because they're always hiring writers. Oh, that slot has been open for years.
Yeah.
What they're doing wrong is they are too strict and stringent on what they want as a writer. You have to be part of a successful television show.
Yes.
An acting experience and all that stuff. You're an actor because you're not a good writer. Mm-hmm. Very few exceptions. Kevin Smith, obviously an exception. A couple other writers. Ron Howard, a very distinguished director, writer, and actor. There are a few exceptions. I'm not going to sit there and tell you all actors are lousy writers, because that's inexplicably false.
Yeah.
More often than not, though, if you are a successful writer and actor and director, you are not going to want to write for the WWE because you have other things you want to do.
Right.
They've got to loosen up there. Basically, what you're doing is you're repeating storylines. We've seen this happen before. A dominant force to be, and then something else comes down the pike. Basically, what this is McMahon and Stone Cold embodied in John Laurinaitis and a couple people, CM Punk and John Cena.
Right.
That's basically what this is all over again.
Yeah.
This is not. What they are doing is their job description requirements for being a writer.
Right.
Is not a good business policy. What they need to do is open up to the fans. God forbid you bring in your fans. You say you're all about what the fans want. You have got to open up and let a couple of the fans in there. Not all of them are what you think they are. Right. And I'm going to say it at that.
Yeah.
We know what the WWE thinks a lot of their fan base are. I'm going to stop it at that, though. Mm-hmm. Because I might offend somebody.
Right.
We are not all what the WWE thinks we are. A few of us are very, very... Well, we do this show. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have said that this is the most underrated sports show that they can find.
Yeah.
So, we can make logical conclusions and be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he writes for Voltage, I write for Destruction. We have interesting stories. The Lance Burton Open. I honestly believe that the Lance Burton Open was the best original idea that has come out of wrestling in a long time. It's not just because I created it, but it's because it was fresh. You had the ingredients there. Too bad it was a CP. It's a CAW.
It's fictional, right?
It's fictional.
I mean, Raw and SmackDown are whole complete different situations. Raw, they just need to push the right people, get the right people in the main event, and they'll be fine. SmackDown
is lost.
SmackDown is lost. SmackDown, first of all, SmackDown needs to move off Friday right now.
Right.
Friday's a horrible night.
Friday is the death slot.
Friday's a horrible night for wrestling. Two reasons why. One, now that it's summer, big blockbuster movies are coming out Fridays. No one's going to sit and watch SmackDown, period. And second, I talked to a lot of wrestling people. People just DVR SmackDown and want to fast forward through it. Mm-hmm. That's bad. So, I don't know if you want to switch it back to Thursdays or make it live on Tuesday, whatever you got to do. But Friday, it's just not working. That's the bottom line. Friday does not work for SmackDown. Hasn't worked for a long time. Obviously, it shows because their crowds are declining so rapidly, it's ridiculous. They have to start filming certain ways because the crowd sections are somewhat empty. It's embarrassing. It honestly is embarrassing. SmackDown is a shameful show. I'm sorry.
It is. Like you said, we said for a long time, OVW is 10 times better than anything SmackDown puts out. It's just, it is deplorable. It needs to go back to Thursdays. There's not a lot on Thursdays. You're not competing with a lot.
The big sad thing about SmackDown for me is SmackDown's talent pool is a lot deeper than Raw's. I will say that to the day I die. But it's not utilized in the right way.
It never is. It's all about who likes what. I'm starting to think that they're modeling their business ethic off of TNA. Because the wrong people are being pushed. The wrong people seem to be in charge. John Laurinaitis hasn't been interesting ever.
He's never been interesting. I don't care if he was in charge or behind the scenes or part of the dude team, whatever his name was, with the blonde wig or whatever.
To this day, I don't get why John Laurinaitis is there. I strongly think it is because they thought that the McMahon Stone Cold thing is interesting. They just want to revitalize that a little bit, and it's not working. Yeah. I do want to disagree with you a little bit about the Big Show, though.
Oh, here we go.
And we got to take a commercial break. Last segment of Triple Threat Talk coming up.
We'll wrap it up
after this.
I'm Terry Bodie, the Ohio Valley Wrestling fan advocate, and you're watching Triple Threat Talk.
And we're back. This will be our last commercial break. We're going to wrap it up here. You were saying you were going to bring something about the Big Show, which I begrudgingly do not want to hear. But I'll let the floor, the desk, whatever you want to call it, your
doctor has the
your podium, go whatever.
I just think that you're giving him. Yeah, I will not forgive. What
I know you won't.
The Big Show did.
If it weren't for the Big Show, Wade Bear would have gold around his waistband.
I agree completely. I do think that he has merit, though. Like you said earlier, what I said about him fighting or going off Daniel Bryan.
Right.
There is nowhere for Big Show to put John Cena.
Right. John Cena's already over.
Right.
He's over the moon and 5 miles to the left.
This is not Big Show's fault. This is what we were talking about.
Well, yeah.
This is the writers.
Well, I'm not necessarily blaming Big Show. I'm blaming that he's there.
Right, that he's there. He doesn't need to be there. He is interesting. If he had a secondary thing going on, that would be perfect.
Big Show should be mid-card level at best.
I don't even think mid-card. I think one rung below. What he has done for the company, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels have all been along. Well, Big Show not as long, but he's got that amount of seniority in the ring. He deserves to be part. For anyone who puts as much hard work and dedication as he does, and puts up with some of the bull crap that they have put him in.
Oh yeah, I could go on a list.
I respect the Big Show. I do. That doesn't mean I like him.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I respect the Big Show.
I do not like him
because what he has put up with, a lot of people would have quit by now. A lot of people really wearing diapers, carrying babies, being put in ridiculous storylines. I think a lot of people would have quit. I think one rung below main event is where he belongs right now. But right now, you're right. He is on main event. He does have a place, though. And I will say that. Not in the main event. I will defend that to the day I die.
He should not be in the main event.
He should not be in the main event. No, I do agree with that. But I completely disagree with you that he does not have a place.
Well, and the thing is, me and Jimmy called it. We said it over the limit. He was going to come out back from. He was fired, and then he comes out and helps John Laurinaitis. Well, no kidding. Honestly, it's like, what do you think? We're new to this? You think you can pull the wool over our eyes? You got nothing coming, okay? It was so easy to spot.
And I think that goes along to our writing thing. WWE, please, you've got to let other people write for you. What you've got right now is not working. You've got Freddie Prinze Jr.
He quit.
Did he quit?
Mm-hmm.
You've got nobody. Awesome.
He left the volume.
So, you need something new. You need to let a couple people in there that you wouldn't ordinarily let in.
Right.
You need to let certain things count. You tailor your games to cater to CAW people.
Yeah.
You do.
Whether you like it or not.
WWE 12 is completely there for CAW.
I mean, really? You have the name calls. You can make M. Bison, Vega. Come on, people.
Yeah, it is completely tailored to CAW. Here's a thought. Go out and grab some of the successful CAW people like Ska, like DWA, who were successful at doing what they do. Maybe, if anything else, Pay us $1,000.
Yeah.
See what we have to say.
Right, yeah, right.
See what we have to say. It's interesting. It's interesting concepts. I guarantee you they will come off with a lot better stuff than what they're putting out with right now.
Bottom line for Raw, SmackDown I'm not even going to discuss because SmackDown's long gone. SmackDown needs to do like a list of things to fix itself. Raw needs only a few. For Raw to fix itself, they have to do something controversial. I know it's PG, but you can do it well. Stir something up. Maybe with, for example, here's an idea. Have like Kane kidnap AJ and CM Punk has to save her. Just something off the top of my head. That'd be kind of interesting. CM Punk sees if he likes AJ or not. It's something different. Kane be the kind of demonic creature he is. Maybe see if Daniel Bryan still likes AJ somewhere because she's in trouble. I don't know. Maybe have something to fight with that. Do something different. Don't just have a, Brodus Clay dance and the Big Show do this and John Cena pour barbecue sauce on Michael Cole. Really? Come on.
Now, here's what I would like to see them do. Have Wade Barrett come back and replace David Otunga.
As a stooge?
No, not as a stooge. Okay. Like, have him in a more serious role. Take out David Otunga, have them feud, have Otunga go face. Because, frankly, what he's gone through with Jennifer Hudson, he deserves a little bit of crowd recognition.
So instead of like him holding a thing of coffee, we'd hold a bottle of water.
Have Wade Barrett, totally replace him and be a more serious role, be a bigger threat than David Otunga.
Right.
I think that would be an interesting perspective.
Yeah, but and the last thing I'm going to say before we close wrestling, it's about Randy Orton. And I told this the other day. I told him today. I am so disappointed in Randy Orton. Suspended for 60 days because of his actions in the wellness policy. Someone said he was smoking marijuana, which doesn't count, I think, on that, but it might. He was fined $2,500 for that, and also I think anabolic steroids he was caught for. He grew up in the business. His grandfather and his father paved the way for him, and he wants to throw it away by being an idiot. And I had a conversation with somebody the other day about it, and they said, well, maybe he's like his addictive personality, which I can somewhat get, but Randy Orton is given an opportunity that only few, and I mean like less than 5, can dream of. Not only is he part of the biggest wrestling company in the world, he's one of the future stars. He's a future Hall of Famer.
And that might be what saves him.
Well, yeah, but he wants to throw it all away by being an idiot. And I have no respect for people like that. Especially there's been stories in tennis where someone got banned for the game for doing drugs and betting on the game. You have a golden opportunity that I would like to do, and you're going to throw it away. Orton grew up in the business, and he's going to throw it away. And I said to him, I wouldn't be surprised if Orton got fired over the 60-day suspension. They're very mad at him, and I don't blame them. He gets everything handed to him because his father was in the business and his grandfather. He has a legacy in this business, and he's going to throw it away by being an idiot. And I don't understand that at all.
I think one of the things that Randy Orton, I think he is, when you had a discussion that he might be fired after this, they had a very intense conversation with him apparently.
Got hostile.
I think who Randy Orton is right now, what they built him into, it's simply bad for business to fire him right now. 3 strikes, obviously you're out.
3 strikes, their hands are tied.
What Randy Orton needs to realize is this. You're not going to do better in TNA.
You're going to be lost in the shuffle.
Probably going to do worse. Here's my advice. If somebody knows Randy Orton or whatever, usually I despise people who are dishonorably discharged from the military. Usually I do. And it's because they get dishonorably discharged because they do something utterly pathetic. Alright? Sometimes it's false, and I know a couple cases that they don't deserve it. Those people I'm fine with. But if you are dishonorably discharged from the military, it means you just have done something so deplorable. Randy Orton, to me, has redeemed himself to me. A little bit. With what he's done. Okay? I'm past that. But, what we were talking about the other day, what Randy Orton needs to realize is this. Randy Orton needs to realize that nobody hires people that are dishonorably discharged from the military. It is extremely hard.
Yeah.
You are very lucky, as Big B said, to have a place in this business at all. And it's because of your father and your grandfather that you are. You need to think about that. No one's going to hire you. You can't even get a job at Walmart with a dishonorable discharge on your record. Walmart! So where do you think you're going to work if you lose out on WWE? Where do you think you're going to work?
You need to clean up your act right now.
You're not going to work anywhere. You're going to be drawing unemployment, buddy. Sorry. We love you. You've redeemed yourself to me. Other people, maybe not so much. But you are just not going to get a job anywhere with a dishonorable discharge on your record. That doesn't go away. Shape up and hopefully don't ship out, because we do like you.
Yeah. His fiance is a huge fan of his, but bottom line this, and I know she watched the show too, bottom line is this. If Randy Orton doesn't clean up his act, WWE's going to say, you know what?
Later.
We've given you all the opportunities in the world, and you just technically, metaphorically speaking, spit in our face. So don't let the door hit you on the way out, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. That's all I have to say about that.
Do you have an idiot of the week this week?
I do.
I think you do.
I do.
And it's not Randy Orton.
No, it's not. It's Justin Blackman. And you're probably saying, who's that? Well, that was the Jaguars receiver that they drafted in the NFL draft this past April. And you're probably saying, why is he an idiot? Because he went to Jacksonville? Well, that's a different story entirely. But Justin Blackman, he's not even on the team yet. He's a rookie. He gets caught with a DUI. That's a dumb thing right there, first of all.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
And then also, I read this today, he said, oh, I'm done with drinking. For now. For now? So, you're going to do this again? No, you're going to play football? You're going to go out there drunk? You're going to go, I'm going to have a beer and score a touchdown. That's going to be my game. You don't do that. I mean, hopefully one DUI wakes you up and says, again, same situation with Randy Orton. You're going to get a golden opportunity to play in the NFL. Don't screw it up. So, Justin Blackman, you're on this week's Triple Threat Talk Idiot of the Week.
You have a wild card.
A wild card? I do. And I'll talk real quick about it. I was mentioning the other day, I had to talk about this. The French Open, Caroline Wozniacki, who was a former #1 player in the world, she was playing a match against Kai Kanepi on the French Open the other day. And there was a ball that was clearly out. They did show it again. But with Hawkeye, with the review system that Hawkeye is, where they have to, they can see where the ball lands with the system that it is, Hawkeye has to survive a certain amount of tests.
Clint Barton?
No. Hawkeye has to survive a certain amount of tests.
That's a good reference.
And Hawkeye didn't pass those tests at the French Open, so Hawkeye's not available there. And the ball was out, and they called it in, and Wozniacki was going on and on about it, and she was having a tantrum, and basically saying, did you go to school? If you went to school, she was having a huge argument with the chair umpire, and she ended up losing the match, not because of that, but, she lost the match anyway. But at the same time, it's like, this happens in tennis all the time, where the chair umpire says the thing, the player gets so upset. That's tennis, and I've played tennis long enough to know this. Tennis is a huge mental game. If you're out there and you let something that affects you mentally, you're going to lose the match. Bottom line. So that's pretty much my wild card.
I gotta make this quick. My wild card is 3 Hour Raw. Really? What was the downfall of Nitro? One of the downfalls, 3 hours. We've got too much space. The 3 Hour Raw every now and then for story purposes, fine, A-okay.
Right.
You don't want to do it full time.
Well, next week is 3 Hour Raw. McMahon's coming back to evaluate John Laurinaitis,
which I hope he's gone.
So, and then also, I mean, No Way Out's coming up. Triple H is supposed to be there. See what happens with that. So
it's one of those things that I disagree with this on multiple reasons. You just can't fill a 3 Hour Raw. So
right. And the thing that I've heard about 3 Hour Raw, which is kind of disheartening, is that, I mean, I like to see people showcase more as what the 3 Hour Raw should be, but it might be stuff for more goofy antics, and so I hope not. We'll see. July 23rd is the first 3 Hour Raw 1000th episodes. I think that Raw will be very, very good.
Oh yeah.
So
that Raw
will be excellent. So I would.
But any Raw after that, 3 hours, really.
We shall see. So if you want to like us on Facebook, please do. We're 2 ways. We're 2 away from the 100 likes. If you're the 100th person, you get an autographed picture of an OB Wrestling superstar of your choice. Go to facebook.com/triplethreattalk for more details. Well, follow us on Twitter. You can at twitter.com at triplethreattalk with 1 T. And you can send us any comment or question you have at triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. So for Triple Threat Talk, this is Big B,
the boyfriend of Cody Rhodes. I haven't done it all week, all show. I had to throw something out there. You understand? This is the doctor for myself and Postmaster John.
See you. Bombshell. Thanks everybody. See you next week. And the doctor just pisses me off.